shutting off the ringer of my phone this time.
No one call us.
Veteran move.
Well, it went off again during real life yesterday when we were all yelling at each other.
Oh, yeah. What were you guys debating?
We're going to get into it right now. It is Tuesday. Game day. Game 4. It's a big game. Big game. Game 4 is always a big one. Tyler.
The swing game, they call it.
The swing game. And as we do every week, we're going to start. Oh, look at that. New Wendy's ad read. That's very exciting. That is very exciting. We're going to start off with a delicious debate, as we always do. It takes hard work and determination to bring home the win. Nope, still the same one. Luckily, all you need to do is bring home Wendy's rewards to eat. Just download the Wendy's app, place your favorite order, and you'll be well on the road to victory. And by victory, we mean free food, of course. And hey, while you're racking up the sweet reward points and eating your way through the menu, you'll also find plenty of deals along the way to keep your morale high. So what are you waiting for? Download the Wendy's app today and start earning on every order you make. I'm going to stop at Wendy's today. I'm going to get myself a spicy chicken sandwich.
Ooh.
Because I'm feeling spicy. I didn't like the way Game 3 ended.
You didn't like the way it ended?
No.
With like the McDavid stuff? Or just
Yep.
the general score?
I would have liked everybody to make their first punch a drop kick, but that is just me. I'm a bit of a caveman.
Yeah.
But we'll
the way
get
it
into
should have
that in a
been
second.
handled.
I don't think you are a caveman.
That's
I
the
just
way it
think
should have been
that-
handled.
yes.
Because you can't deal with it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't
We're
know
going to
what
get to that later.
I feel like
It
this
has
is
nothing to do with the delicious debate, actually. The delicious debate, normally Tyler handles this, but I'm doing it today.
Oh.
Our boy, Frank Saravalli,
He's rattled
this
now.
morning broke that Calvin Pickard was getting the start today in Game 4. And the delicious debate for our friends at Wendy's today, is this the right move by Kris Knoblauch and why?
Can I answer first? I never get to answer the delicious debate first.
Yes, you may.
We will not know if it's the right or wrong call until after the game.
Shut the show down. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the right answer.
And extra.
Debate
But
done.
here, it's not what I would have done if I was in Kris Knoblauch's shoes. I think the Oilers' best chance of rattling off 3 of the next 4 is with Stuart Skinner getting hot. He was a great goalie for them for long stretches in the regular season. He was a great goalie for them towards the end of that LA series. I would have gone back to Skinner. But the justification and the logic behind Pickard is incredibly sound, so it's hard to argue against it.
Who's next?
Go ahead, Dan.
I'm of the mindset that I don't think that they should have made the switch in the third period. I wouldn't have done that myself. And then if you wanted to make this move now, it makes a little bit more sense to kind of throw a change up at the Canucks instead of showing them the goalie that you're going to now start with. That being my issue, I don't know. I guess like if the Oilers are going to change it up, then this is one of the ways that you can do it. I'm just frustrated with it feels like we still have Jay Woodcroft behind the bench. That's where this decision is just kind of riddling me.
Counterpoint to what you first said.
Sorry.
If you knew you were going to Pickard, isn't it smart to play him in the third period to get him in there?
20
Yeah, why
minutes.
wouldn't
Get that rust knocked off, and then it doesn't go the next game.
Because I want the Canucks to think that I want the Canucks comfortable in thinking that they've got Skinner and that they've got his number, and then I'm going to hit them with the Pickard counterpunch. I get what you're saying. You give him the ability to get out there and get some confidence. But what if he gets another leaky one there in the third period? Then you're left with no options for today that are
just to play the other side of that. Just like what happens if it's a leaky one first shot of tonight.
Yeah.
Then you're sitting there kicking yourself, yeah.
I think pulling Skinner was the right decision in that moment. I'm glad they did it in the intermission.
Oilers were down by 2.
Not down by too many. Still a game in there. You have to play to win that game, and I don't think you can play mind games.
I'm not thinking mind games, but I'm of the same mindset that Tyler is, where like you're not winning the Stanley Cup with Pickard as your goalie, and so Stuart Skinner is the guy that we are riding into the ground. We made that decision at the trade deadline. We didn't go out and get any help for him behind him. We said Pickard is the guy, and he's going to be a backup. And now we're like, oh, but Pickard, you might have to win us some games here.
I think he needs to win a game.
Yeah, to me, like, did anybody else go?
Rick didn't
I
go.
didn't do mine, but
Go ahead, Liam.
What was the question again? What was it the right
Was
decision?
it the right call to go?
Yeah, I think it was the right decision. I don't think you can. Just feels like deja vu all over again, really, doesn't it? After last year in the second round, like Skinner strong first round minus the 1 game against LA last year, kind of similar this year, but the 1 game wasn't as bad. And then series 2, like he's just not been consistent enough. And for me, I know the Oilers had 2 bad turnovers in the first period. 1 bad turnover, 1 defensive error that led to goals. But like, I feel like all 4 of those goals were very savable. And he isn't making the big save. And I think this is a 1 game for Calvin Pickard, win or lose. Unless he's unbelievable. But I feel like this is like, Stu, you need a day. This isn't do or die at the moment for the Oilers. You have to win 4 games to win a series, despite what some Canucks fans may think. So I think going with Pickard is the right idea. A bit of a reset on everything. They're changing a lot of the lines too. I think you're throwing a different look at Vancouver.
I also agree that I would have probably gone with Pickard today, just because give Stu a night off, a reset, a break. He's played a lot of hockey recently, and I know that that's the job of your starter. But I also think that for Calvin Pickard, 733 is not a high bar to clear. That's where Stu is at in Game 3. And I know Stuart Skinner can be better than that, and he will be better than that. And I'm with Liam that I bet unless Calvin Pickard really stands on his head today, I'm guessing no matter what happens, Stu's back in for Game 5.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't like. It's obviously the answer is going to be in hindsight.
Would you have done it if
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I would have done
I think it's I think you're taking it's a large gamble, and I think it's an unnecessary gamble right now. This series really is reminding me of the first part of our season. Like, I know people want to sit there and they feel better when they can point their finger at someone and say, hey, you. So you see people going Skinner, you see people going to the defense, you see people going to the secondary scoring or the coach or the GM. They're all right, but it's a little bit of everything right now. So I don't think it's all on your goaltender right now, and I do think it's a bit of a gamble. You're taking a serious chance by doing this.
I agree that it is you taking a gamble.
And because you've pulled yourself out of this type of a situation already this year with Stu as your goaltender, I would have done the same thing tonight. And I would have made it sound like that. Hey, guys, like this, we've done this. November 11th, we were at that game in Seattle, and I thought they looked different in that game. And from there on into the end of the year, they changed their season for the most part. You know, the last couple of games were the last couple of games, but I feel like that's where this series is right now. It just everything's going wrong. Terrible penalties, bad bounces, four goalposts, and 2 pucks pulled off the goal line. Where the goal differential in this series right now is -1.
That's
totally.
And so I feel that's why I feel like going to your backup goaltender right now is a larger than necessary gamble.
Yeah, I think that's like a really apropos way of just saying it. It just feels like, and it feels like it's a 3-1
It
loss.
feels bad though because
3-1 in this series.
it feels so much worse though because it is like the Vancouver fans are doing what they're doing, and you're dealing with a insecure fan base over there, and it's gotten everybody, it's taken everybody to a new level right now. If this was 06 again and we're playing San Jose, I don't think we're all that bummed out. If this isn't like Vancouver or Calgary, I think we look at this a lot differently because it's Vancouver, because
I wouldn't at all.
It's so high strung, like everything is so everything. Like it hurts more right now, and it hurts me. Like I guarantee, I'm just trying to pull myself away from the initial feeling and go, okay, you're down by 1 goal right now, 4 posts and 2 off the goal line last game. Mm-hmm. If you didn't shoot yourself in the foot game 1, this series is much, much different.
I just think Liam put it well when he said on After Dark that the Oilers got bullied, and that's the part for me where it just feels like there was nothing in that game where I can really hold on to and say,
yeah, but your goaltender is not going to come back and bully the other team. You need your players need to look in the mirror and go, okay, that can't.
All of that is true, but what's in black and white is that Stu's got a 793 in the series. And
if he was 870, they'd be up 3-0.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like Silvos doesn't have any. His numbers are less than 900 as well.
But they're up 2-1.
But we're down one shot. We're down one shot right now.
He made saves that Stu wasn't making.
The Draisaitl breakaway.
Post.
The second
post. Two pucks scooped off the line.
But he's making the stops, Rick. Like,
but no, 4 posts and 2 scoops aren't him though. Like
we can talk about it being a gamble of Pickard going in. They're playing their 3rd string goalie.
Yeah, but it's more like a second. I agree with you.
But they took a gamble of being like,
no, you're right.
We will not go back to Casey DeSmith. We will run with this guy.
You're right.
And they're currently up 2-1, and they've outplayed us.
But I think we're getting way too down here. We're down by 1 goal.
The counter,
Totally.
One goal.
The counter argument to your thing of like, and again, I'm with you. I would have played Stu.
I would have played Stu yesterday on Real Life. I said personally, I would have probably played Pickard, but I think the Oilers are going to play Stu.
The counter to what you and I are saying, Rick, and it's why I said I think the decision is very justifiable to go to Pickard. Let's say you went with Stu tonight, and let's just say it goes bad. Now you're down 3-1. And now you need to play Pickard in an elimination game. At least now you play Pickard and you know.
Yep.
Okay, if Pickard does well, you can maybe run with him, maybe you don't, whatever. You've given Stu the rest. The positives are all there. If it doesn't go well, 3-1, take the keys, throw them back to Stu and say, save the day, big guy. You got us into this mess. Get us out of it.
Yeah, I could definitely make an argument for Pickard, and I could make it sound really good. If I have to choose on one here, I'm sticking with the guy that got you there and not getting 2 down right now because you're only down by a goal.
I really
And it's really your own fault for it.
the Draisaitl quote of
I stand behind. I
post.
agree with him
is
1,000.
not
I agree with him
goaltender.
1,000%.
I think that's kind of where that conversation is kind of coming into it though, because like Canuck fans on the other side say
That doesn't
but
matter what
a
they say.
shot into the net is not, or a shot at the post is not a shot in the net. So I think that there's the yes, you're Rick, you're right. I think you can argue it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to see what Tyler said at the start of this segment is. Have to see what happens at the end of the game.
Yeah, we'll know around 11.
I also think that the Oilers play pretty tight in front of Calvin Pickard, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Their defensive game has not been very good. Their breakout has been atrocious.
These zone covers, they've been doing it to ourselves again, just like we did in the first 12 games of the year, or whatever it was.
Fogle one was amazing.
The Fogle
So much
one
ice in
was,
front of him.
I've never seen, like, when that actually happened, I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
He just didn't
He saw
trust
the-
his instincts.
He saw the player there and just,
Yeah,
it was a
player was
high-risk play
there.
again. Stop the high-risk plays. Boards and
Yeah.
out.
You didn't even have to go boards. You could have skated.
Fair.
There's so
Yeah,
much
if you want to move it, move it that way. Do not put it in the middle. Do not give
To-
them opportunity.
And Warren Fogle, if we want to start going through some other stuff in the lineup, Warren Fogle had that bad giveaway, punched a guy while he was in the bench and negated a power play, and on his one good scoring chance, buried his head in his skates and rifled it at the guy's chest.
Got a question for that penalty there. Why did Warren Fogle not get the penalty then? Is that what?
It was a
So
bench
no, that's what
minor.
we are saying
bench
that, right?
minor.
But they.
It's like too many men. When the guy goes on the ice, it's not that guy. It's the bench.
And I would rather
Yeah,
put
but there was
Corey
that
Perry,
guy did something.
But
Yeah,
I would
I
rather
agree.
put Corey Perry in the penalty box than Warren Fogle.
I think the refs might have thought there was multiple guys punching him. And that was their, hey, we're just going to even it up instead of giving the Oilers 2 or 3
And I
penalties.
thought that was
I thought it
the
was
wrong
lame too.
call.
I mean, if you're Warren Fogle, if you are on the bench, you cannot punch a player who's on the ice.
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. I saw that part. Like I know what I was looking at, and I don't think I was looking at Fogle. So I'd like to see that replay, but yeah, I don't think I saw.
I
that
also didn't see much of a roughing there
He-
myself on.
No,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
I-
an incredibly soft even up call.
It was an.
It was
an-
terrible.
It was an even up call for sure. But again, if you're Fogle, like you negated a power play by punching.
But
the guy when you're
I'd
on
have
the-
to see the penalty, I guess.
Okay, well, I'm done.
One thing.
Yeah, I believe you.
But that's what happened. Like
Yeah.
Fogle's got to get his head in the game.
That's my problem with it. Okay, sorry. Before we move on, I actually forgot I had one other delicious debate because it was, what game do we see Stuart Skinner in next?
5.
5.
So where do you draw the line though? So if they win 3-0, you're obviously going back to Pickard next game. But where's your line? Is it if they win and Pickard's below 900? Are you purely on some sort of eye test? How many big saves did he make?
No, I just think.
Purely on the fact that our backup goalie is playing tonight.
Yeah, I
They've
just
done
think
this
that.
all season.
If they win 3-2 and Pickard stops 33 or 35,
I think they'll still go back to him.
would you?
Yes.
Wow.
I would go back to Stu. I just look at this almost kind of like if this was a regular season, a rotation, giving your starter a night off.
Okay.
That's what I'm kind of looking at it too. And I think that's one thing that's getting glossed over all of this is Pickard has come in throughout the year, done one spot start, done really well, and then just parked his ass on the bench again. And then it's got rolling again. Maybe that's just what's going to happen tonight. Maybe the rotation, like BM just said, just needs to occur, which is what's happening.
Like, what do you think about when Boston does it?
Boston.
Again, it's completely different. I get it.
They're
Ullmark is
one-
much better than.
Yeah.
I get it.
They did it once now, right? They did it once and then stopped. And we're like, well, that's enough of that. Swayman's our guy. So I think I'm okay with Boston doing it because they're both elite goalies. I think, the other thing was Skinner too, because I did have someone say, like, isn't this just Skinner getting burnt out again? And it's like, he did have 7 days off between starts.
Yeah, I don't believe the tiredness.
He just got
I don't think I'm not talking about physical tiredness. It's just there's been an emotional lift in this
Yeah,
series.
you're right.
Give him a quick reset.
I think him not coming out for the post game on whatever day that was, Sunday,
Yeah.
showed a level of maybe frustration and like mental exhaustion. I don't think he's physically
And
tired.
it also makes me wonder what was happening in the room in the second intermission.
What do you mean?
Though that's just
They
pure
were yelling?
conspiracy by me. I don't have, obviously there's no media in the room to report anything, but it's just kind of like we have now heard from media that, hey, the Oilers weren't thrilled with Skinner refusing to do media. They feel like that's maybe a sign about where his mental state is at right now when it comes to playing in net. I wonder if maybe there wasn't something in the room where Knoblauch walked in and was like, yeah, you're not playing the third pick, go.
Well,
Because if you were truly upset with the way things were going and the goals he's given up, you would have pulled him in the middle of the period. You would have used it as a timeout, and you would have done it that way.
I think what they did with the polling was the right idea, especially that late in the period. It was like, what, 2:40 left?
Yeah, you're okay.
I just think sometimes when you pull your goalie in a game, you're basically telling them, you are not going to give us an opportunity to win tonight. Whether we want to see it as like a spark or whatever, that's probably how the goalie sees it too.
Yeah.
And if you pull him across the ice in a playoff game, that's just let the memes flow in, right? Like it's just something you can save your goalie that embarrassment. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. I think he'll be fine.
I think he's going to be fine too. I don't see a night off, especially in a non-elimination game, as the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
There was one thing I noticed with him actually. So I rarely ever do this, so I don't know if this is a trend, but at one point they were doing a face-off draw, and you could see the Oilers bench in the background, and I was looking at Skinner to like see what he was looking at and his facial expression, and he was like deadpan, looking straight ahead, not even looking at the play. So he was clearly just going through these motions in his head that night. Speculating, of course, but like, that's what I saw. Him just, because the puck was in the offensive zone.
He's also not alone. Liam and I did our top 5 stinky boys in the Oilers
Yes.
lineup.
Well, let's
Who's
talk
really
about it.
stinking?
I don't want to hear your stinky boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about who needs to be better, but I want the three of us to get a first look at it.
Okay,
I'm
Yeah.
taking it off the board. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you need to score.
but where is he on your top 5 stinky boys?
Oh, I got to do like a Mount
Yeah,
Rushmore
well,
of stinky boys.
Trust
Yeah,
me,
Mount
it's
Rushmore of the
not
stink.
difficult. There is a few to pick
Yeah, you
from.
can get more than 5.
Okay, I just don't know how I would order them, but I can pick 5. I think that I need more from Nuge. It's got to come from me. I got to say it. 2, let me think here. Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid, Electric. Second line. I was trying to think of who's the second line. Nuge, Fogle, absolutely. Need more. Corey Perry, this is supposed to be your time, bro. This is supposed to be the time when you like really light it up. We haven't had a Corey Perry moment yet. Almost did last game, to be fair. Let me see here. So, Nuge, McLeod, Perry. I'd like to see more playoff Kane. I'd like to see him mixing it up a little bit more. I know he's battling something right now, but when the game is getting as feisty as it is, we got some guys that I would like to see mop it up a little bit. And Cody Ceci, I think, is a layup, kind of easy answer. Interesting they're going 11-7 tonight, but Rick, who you got? Who's your 5 that just need to pick it up?
Yeah, you're not going to like me, but pretty much everybody outside the top 5. It's you win as a team, you lose it as a team.
It's
The whole team is not playing well enough 5-on-5. Period. And like that's it. That's it. If you win 5-on-5, this is a lot different situation right now. We're not playing well enough 5-on-5.
So Rick's answer is bottom 9, bottom 4.
Pretty much everybody. Everybody has to look in that mirror, and some people have to pull harder than others, and that's just the way things go in team situations. And
I like
everybody needs to be better.
example was last night. Like Carolina beat New York again last night, but they got some depth goals at like key times and pushed the series forward. The Oilers desperately need that. It can't all be Connor Leon and Zach Hyman scoring or Matthias Ekholm in the series.
Yeah.
Like,
But
we
even those
need
are
some
even
guys.
those are a lot of those are power play. Like how many 5-on-5s do we have right now?
Yeah, not enough.
Nowhere near enough. So everybody needs to be better on 5-on-5.
Dan, who's you got as your, what do you guys call them? The Stinky Boys.
The stinky boys, your 5 stinky boys.
My number 1 stinky boy, and still like from the first round, because I called him out early and tried to put a whole caveat in that I thought it was coming, is Corey Perry. Just supposed to be a playoff performer, supposed to be a guy that's under their skin. Haven't heard a single news clipping from the noisiest media out of Vancouver. Not anything about Corey Perry. Vander Kane gets kind of lopped in there too, but I wouldn't put him necessarily in my top
5
positions
stinky
there.
boys.
Yeah. So I think it's Perry, CC, just because he's an adventure every time he's on the ice. Warren Fogle, I've just expected more out of him, especially with the regular season that he had. Stuart Skinner is number 4, and then I guess like you could put Kane there. I expect just guys that should have goals and way more shots. Like that's the thing for me with like Evander Kane. Just more shots on the net, and then you wouldn't be a stinky boy. But
Yeah, he
that's
had
my thought.
hit that post. In
Can't
game
believe
3.
no one said Ryan McLeod.
He's been fine defensively, but at some
Fine
point you got to
defensively,
score.
He's got a lot of zeros across the board.
He does do a
Zeros
lot of
every
flies
night.
around the zone.
Oh.
So the
So-
possession time is up.
Yeah, I just man, I would love if he had a little bit of rage in him.
But I think that Rick's point is true, though. Like outside of Hyman, Draisaitl,
Rick's answer is the
McDavid,
answer.
and
Yeah,
Bouchard,
5-on-5
/ Ekholm.
Rick's answer
5
is
on
the answer.
5, it's
like,
everybody.
Yeah.
It's everybody 5 on 5.
That's the answer.
It is. Like there's, you win as a team, you lose as a team.
And the whole team hasn't been good
Everybody,
enough.
everybody is part of the winning and the losing right now.
I made the comment earlier that it feels like Jay Woodcroft is behind the bench, but the reason I feel that way is because it felt like, especially in that game, I was just waiting for McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman to come out there for something to happen. The other three lines were just holding on for dear life, and then we were going to get an offensive punch if McDavid and Hyman came out. Frustrating.
I also just, if I'm being honest, it was right in front of me. I really thought they were going to get that second one with a minute and change left. I really thought
Oh,
they were
when they
getting it.
fed it to Nuge in the middle there in the dying seconds, and he hammered that puck, I was like, "That's it." Oh, thought it was it.
I thought the gods wanted it.
But that's where I'm trying to like, I'm using that to get over my anger and disappointment or whatever. I mean, not disappointment yet, but anger and sadness, just because it is one shot difference right now. And let that fan base talk all they want. They're up by a shot.
Yeah.
And 4 posts and 2 scoops off the goal line. Like I can't emphasize that enough. If this was, and I still believe that if this was not Vancouver, it would not hurt as bad right now. It wouldn't be fun. You'd be down 2-1, but there'd be a lot more positivity right now.
I'm super positive. I think the Oilers win.
No, I know, but like that's different out of this room. When you're looking at the general,
Discourse?
yeah, sure. There's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of people like willing to give up again. And this really just feels to me like the beginning of the season. It's just they need to not allow it to go 11 games because we don't have that much time.
Also, if the Oilers would have tied up the game, there would have been a rule change in the summer because of the coaching move Kris Knoblauch did, going back to Stuart Skinner.
That was a great play.
To buy himself an extra 25
That's
seconds.
one of my favorite plays so far of the playoffs.
But if that would have worked, it would have been a massive story, and I guarantee you this summer the NHL would have put in you cannot change your goalie in the last 3 minutes of a game.
I don't think they would. Mike Keenan used to do it all the time, and he would do
Really?
it in game like 18 of the year. Like not even the playoffs, but he would be like swapping goalies all the time. Goalies hated him for it, but it worked.
The only error made on that timeout was that they had McDavid on the bench.
Yes.
Because they had to.
But I think
get
they
the puck,
knew-
make a switch. And
I know, but I think
everything
they knew he needed rest anyways.
like that. Yeah, I suppose.
And then it's like, okay, well, let's just give him, like, again, if we can win the draw, get it down the ice, get a whistle, boom, we might be able to give a fully rested top unit 55 seconds here.
You guys in the building wouldn't have seen it, but the facial expression of Pickard, he was like, "What is going on?" He did look very confused about what was occurring. And they had both goalies sat on the bench, like not where they is, because obviously Skinner was pulled, and then Pickard came off, and he was just sat next to each other on the bench. It was kind of a weird thing.
But as soon as it happened, I knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like I don't know how Pickard didn't catch on. As soon as they did it, I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what's happening here."
And-
Mike Keenan. It's
It's a 1-goal game, and they're like, you know what? Because I did, when I saw Pickard skating around and warm up in the third, I was like, if we tie up this game, I'm a little bit worried about having Pickard in net, like a cold goalie in net for OT. And then maybe Pickard was like, fuck, 1-goal game, and now they don't trust me anymore?
It was an interesting play because I was in the building. I was very confused. I didn't know about the Mike Keenan thing.
Oh, he did it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Concussion spotter, maybe.
Yeah,
Start faking that.
That's a veteran coach. You know what that's annoying me right now though is like, and I guess it's not even there yet. It'll kind of come out tonight in the next game, but we have this playoff experience. It's time for it to start paying off. It's time to start utilizing it and using
That's
it.
what I
and
want to
whatnot.
know. It's like I want to know when that kicks in.
But hey, listen, down 2-1 again. 2-1. It's only 2-1. It's a 7-game series, not a 3-game series. You see what's happening in the Carolina, the Carolina series there. This is our time. This is our opportunity. the last game ended in a way that you can write a story that said, "Oh, you know what? That was the turning point here." And now, you know what? All the guys they look at themselves, they look at each other, they look at themselves in the mirror and go, "You know what? Now, okay, we gotta stop this shit. We gotta turn this around. Let's go out there. Let's wake the fuck up. We know who we are. Go out there, do our thing, and finish the story."
That's why we list the stinky boys, Rick, so they know
I
they have to get that stink off.
think they to a man they know.
How do we de-stinkify the
Just
stinky boys?
Play your
What
fucking
say?
game.
Win.
Winning is the best deodorant.
Winning solves everything.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't really complaining about the depth coming out of the LA series, even though it stunk.
But I think we all the depth is an interesting thing. It's not like Vancouver's getting much out of their top outside of their
The
top
Oilers
six.
have more goal scorers in the playoffs than Vancouver does by 4.
But this is this is not taking away anything away from the opposition, but the Oilers are doing this to themselves again.
Totally. They were unlucky a little bit last game too.
Yes, they
Tyler
were.
And I figured out that they probably had about what
They
did we
beat
say?
Sealoffs 10 times.
Sealoffs 10 times.
But they hit.
And his
4 or 5
numbers are not
posts,
good right
too.
now. His numbers
No.
are below 900.
But he just made that extra save.
And
like
that's
you
he's
said,
just
like,
making the next
yeah.
save, and Stu didn't get a chance to. It wasn't able to do it last game, and here we are. We're only down 2. We were down 2-1 in game 2, and we came back.
I said it to Canucks fans. I congratulated them. Their goalie took a game from us. It's okay.
I don't
It
think that's
happens.
the truth either.
But it's
though.
okay.
Okay, we got to
Rick.
move it along. Now.
That didn't happen.
It's fun.
Yeah, we do.
We got new line combos here today. McDavid Draisaitl split up. So we got the reunion of the top line, Nuge, McDavid, Hyman. I'm happy about that. I'm also happy about Dylan Holloway getting lifted up to Draisaitl's line with Vander Kane, Fogle, McLeod, Perry, Yanmark, Ryan. And then we're going 7D, man. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, CC, Kulak, Desharnais. Broberg is in. Over Stetcher, I was kind of surprised by that. But Broberg's obviously 3 times the size. Makes a little bit more sense given
Moves the
how
puck better, skates better.
I disagree. Moves the puck better.
Than Stetcher?
He does, absolutely.
Stetcher moves the puck better.
Stetcher rips it.
I think Broberg's better. I think
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it. I just think Stetcher moves the puck better. But like, given the way the Vancouver forwards are playing, makes way more sense to have the guy who's significantly bigger back there.
Yeah.
He also has great wheels. Skates better than Stetcher.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm fine. My big thing is, like, also, did you guys know Broberg played in like 11 playoff games last year? I have zero recollection of
Yeah,
that.
but like, did he though? Was it one of those?
They're
you'd
like
have to
6,
look it up.
7. They not even 7 minutes is probably like his big one.
Yeah,
So
like, I'd
They're all
love
like
to know
327.
So I did this on Owen every day today because I asked Liam and Coombsy. I said, "What's the over/under? What's the over/under for our boy Broberg tonight if he is truly the 7th defenseman?" And I went and looked at his game logs from last year. He played in 11 games. His numbers were 439, 310, 949, 814, 343, 940, 658, 943 again, then 601.
4 games in the 9 minutes. That's a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
Where do you play him tonight?
I think you throw him out there on the left side. Do you do a little ozone with Boosh? Or do you actually no? I play him sometimes with Vinny because they should be comfortable together from the American League.
But is that the only time you're gonna use him? Are you gonna? Do you ever toss him on the other side and play him over CZ?
Yeah. I think him and Kulak have a bit of a partnership going on. I think it was Bruce.
Would you put Kulak on his off wing or Broberg?
Kulak, I would play him on his.
Anyone else feel like Kulak's playing a lot in the offensive zone these days?
Yeah.
Like you look,
Kulak is legit.
you look up and like he's below the goal line every time.
Yeah.
Like, do we not just make him a winger and let Broberg be number 6? And
He's
There
got
was
a
one-
lot of wheels.
There was one point last game where he was like the lead guy carrying the puck up on the rush, and he chipped it into the corner, and then he kept going, and you could tell
Yeah.
almost like he had the moment of realization, like defenseman, and he just like peeled back and went back.
he's got the green sticker on his helmet. The coach is like, "Hey man, get back, get back."
Yeah.
All right, fine.
We got plenty to get to, including some of the shenanigans late in Game 3. But first, I want to do a little betting talk. Betting segment is brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Take 2. The betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Oilersnation Radio. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code OILYBONUS. Dan, what is that promo code?
Oily bonus.
Oily bonus. Oily bonus. I've got a new game for you guys today, and I want to see how good at betting you are. Everybody in this room is tossed a couple of shekels on a bet from time to time, courtesy of our friends at Bet365. What? And if you guys know it because you just did a show, let's let the other boys have a go at it. Tonight on Bet365, currently as we're recording this, 2:30 p.m. on game day, Oilers money line. What is that set at right now, Dan?
I'm guessing what it is?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oilers money line. I'm going to guess plus 125.
Plus?
Plus 125?
I just looked.
Yeah.
I had to
Should
put
we
my
not
hat
be?
back on.
Should we not be?
Should we or what we are?
Logically, the team that is down 2-1 in the series
And then that is starting their backup.
and is starting their backup goalie.
But that's why I keep saying this is so much like the beginning of the season, because when we went to Seattle, we were sitting there in the airport trying to find bets because you can't bet tomorrow because we're in this blah blah, and we were always like such a strong favorite. Right now, it's minus 200 for Edmonton to win on the money line
It is actually moved minus 205.
Ooh.
in 4.5 minutes.
It is
Or
minus
3.5 or what it's been.
205.
That's
Well,
insane.
This weird thing happened too with the did you guys see the Carolina Rangers
Yeah.
line in the game 4 when Carolina was down 3-0 and they were the favorite in that game?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird. It's like the public is moving the lines.
The public
in weird
believes.
ways.
Public believes in the Oily boys.
How about the Oilers puck line, Rick? Do you have a little gander at that one? What do
Uh,
we have for the Oilers puck line? If the money
I
line, which,
haven't.
by the way, if you don't know what money line is, that's just a straight win.
And you have to risk $205 to win 100 right now from the Oilers.
Puck line means winning by two goals or more. 2 goals or more. So
Just
minus 1.5 puck line.
just because we know the minus 200, that's probably like plus 100 ish. It's gonna be right around there.
Dan, you thought that the money line should be a little
now
bit
I'm
higher.
thinking this is like minus 125 or something.
Well, yeah, 'cause now that we have something to base it off, right? With minus
Yeah, but
200,
I bet you they think we're gonna get 2 goals.
Well,
I think we wouldn't.
you're actually pretty close on your original guess, isn't it? Plus 120.
It is currently plus 125.
Ooh.
Bet 365. So the Oilers to win by 2 is plus 125. Tyler, how's that math work?
So it's plus 125, which means for every $100 you wager, you would profit $125.
Next up, El Capitan. I personally believe that this is a Connor McDavid night coming. I can feel it.
Is it because of what Jay posted?
Cal, my pal?
No, you got some weird phone call from like McDavid, Florida, and the last 2 digits of his phone number is 97.
Connor McDavid anytime goal. Rick, what is that?
Anytime goal for Connor McDavid is I'm going to go with minus 120.
Dan, what do you think?
Minus 225.
Boys, you know the answer?
Isn't it? It's plus 125, right?
It's plus 130. To me, I like the odds.
That
Who
I
do you
do.
think the favorite is to score for
Zach.
the Oilers?
Zachary Hyman.
It is that kind of minus 105, right?
Yes. Last question. Guess the line for our friends at Bet365. Calvin Pickard over 23.5 saves.
Why you don't know this one?
All right. Gang's all in.
Over 23.5 saves.
That's right.
I'll say
Minus 110.
minus 120.
I'm going to go with minus 115 because I was going to go 110.
Gotcha.
Dan, you got to guess?
Are they going to say that Vancouver's not going to shoot a bunch?
Vancouver does.
I'm going to say plus 128. 125, sorry.
Currently sitting at
128.
minus 125.
Oh my gosh.
Calvin Pickard over 23.5 saves.
Have they had a lot of shots though? Like, I mean,
No,
they didn't have a lot of
but-
shots in the first series, and I don't know what
But
they
see,
really
the
have.
tricky
Really
part with
like-
that is that if Pickard got pulled, that's where the under really becomes an issue there. So that's why the line is so all over.
But they were averaging like 18 shots versus Nashville.
I would bet the under.
I'd stay away.
Yeah, 100%.
I think this is going to be an offensive game.
Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code Liam.
Oily boys.
No,
Oily
oily
bonus.
bonus.
We're the oily boys, and we give an oily bonus. Bet365. Go check them out. All right, let's talk about the end of Game 3. Word broke yesterday. Carson Soucy suspended 1 game. I want to start. We're going to go through the whole thing, but Carson Soucy suspended 1 game. Fair or unfair?
Fair.
Dead on right.
Fair.
For me, I thought it was fair too, because like intent or not, you cross-checked Connor McDavid in the throat. Full stop.
Yeah.
Anybody suggesting that,
Marty
you didn't
McSoucy.
mean to do it, like, who cares?
Marty McSoucy.
Marty McSoucy.
How
All
about
right.
Zadorov getting a fine for his cross-check, but Zach Hyman not getting a fine for his?
We had J-Pat on Owen every day today, and the chat was just like lighting him up for being a Canucks homer. But J-Pat made a good point. He was like, there was a stick infraction on McDavid after the buzzer. There was a stick infraction on Hyman after the buzzer. And the 2 Canucks guys are the only ones who got disciplined. If the NHL really wanted to send a message of like none of this shit going forward, not that the fines do anything, but they show that you've kind of been warned legitimately and don't do any more going forward.
They're not getting paid. That's right out of their pocket. They're not getting paid to play in the playoffs.
You're right. I think if the NHL really wanted to send the right message, you just slap a fine to McDavid, slap a fine to Hyman, slap a fine to Zadorov, and say none of that shit.
Yes.
And suspension Susie.
3 fines and a suspension, I would have been fine.
That's kind of what I thought too. Like even if they're not getting paid in the playoffs, like Zadorov made 3-7 last year, I think, off the top of my head.
Yeah, they're fine.
He's carrying that in his genes.
All
man.
it does is just kind of let the players know, like, hey, we saw you do that, and if you do it again, giddy up.
I know
There's
this
like
is
some
a
consistency in the system at that point too. Then
Yeah.
I also like.
Which they're
I know
not
it's a
good at.
CBA thing, and it would probably never happen. But if the NHL really wants to cut it out, the fine has to be like $200,000.
Should be a percentage of your earnings or whatever it is.
That's kind of what it is. It's just capped at a certain number. Because that's why some guys, you'll see like a player's been fined like $2,817, the maximum allowed under the CBA. I think that's because their contracts are low.
That's kind of like the traffic laws in like Finland, because you get like your speeding tickets are based on how much you make. So you go like 15 over, but you're Solani.
Yeah.
Solani gets like a $900,000 ticket, whereas if it's us, it's like $50.
Yeah, because I remember those headlines of
Yeah.
Solani's been fined $108,000
Oh my
for speeding.
Lord.
It was like, what
He's
the
going
fuck?
7 over,
Whoa.
but it's based on your income.
What do you got over there, Liam?
Canada is playing in the World Championships right now against Austria, and it was 6-1 going into the third.
Oh, dear
It is
God.
now 6-6.
Oh.
That is actually wild.
As soon as he said "oh" like that, you knew it was not gonna be good.
No, you knew it wasn't gonna.
Interesting.
I thought it was either going to be 12-1 or...
No, it's
Nah.
No, because I even think 12-1 wasn't gonna get that reaction.
I want to go back to Game 3. I said it off the jump. I'm a little bit cavemanish, but like when I saw Connor McDavid go down, at least on the replay, because I didn't see it live,
Yeah, neither did I.
it drew rage in my blood, and I wish someone would have made their first punch a drop kick.
See, no, and I
the-
get where you're coming from, and I get you got to
there's
look
the
at
instigator thing.
who are
and
the guys on the ice at the
suspension,
time,
blah, blah,
like-
blah.
Okay, but they also had 6 players on the ice at the time.
I know, but I mean, so right away, I'm just like, okay, we saw this last year when it came to Nurse and everything. They even that stuff up, so you don't want to lose a player. But Derek Ryan, Connor Brown, Fogle, jump the fucking boards and go do it. Like, yeah,
But then what, you're getting suspended for the rest of the playoffs?
Derek Ryan, oh well. No offense to Derek Ryan. Connor Brown, oh well. No
Lil
offense to
DR
Connor Brown.
fighting Zadorov.
But
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, like, it's just, if you don't deal with it right there, you can't deal with it till next year.
But this
Because you
is,
can't deal with it tonight.
But this is what the NHL has created for themselves. They, we had all those guys. I saw Barnaby, a couple of old school guys saying, "Oh man, if somebody did that to Wayne Gretzky,"
It's
back
true,
in the
though.
day," and it's true. But the NHL literally created the rules so that what the Oilers did, which is stand back and say, "Let's let the league decide what is going to come out of this," is what the league wants, and it's what the NHL has announced that they would like to have done with these kinds of situations. And so this is what the league has created for us. People being upset at that and wanting the caveman response, it's not coming anymore. I get it.
I still think it, no, because I think some teams are going to do it still. And I do wish that there was a bigger response out of it. Somebody can go do something.
Yeah, I mean, as the guy that runs hockeyfights.com.
And I agree with you on the whole,
I
I
just-
agree with you on the majority of what you just said there with the instigator and them trying to take that stuff out of it. But somebody has to go do something. Something. I don't like something, somebody, anybody. And preferably not the guys on the ice, but.
I just think that this is the new NHL. It's wait to see what the Department of Player Safety will do for you, and then maybe and only then do you respond the next game.
And you
or the
can't,
next
but you
season.
can't respond this game because
Yes,
there's too much
exactly.
on the line.
Yes.
So come game 1 against them next year, I want to see. I will not be happy with anything short of Vancouver Calgary that's starting the Vancouver Calgary series, and that means I want Knoblauch going after whoever their coach is in the hallway too.
But you're not going to see it ever again, Rick.
What
It's
happens?
gone.
Sure, they just had a 5-on-5 fight in Carolina, New York there not long ago.
Don't you think like Game 5, you could just kind of be like, all right, it's Cody Ceci. It's time to square up now.
Depends on.
I think 7D, Liam made this point.
Vinny could
Vinny.
go.
7D, you have the extra D, man. Vinny, go get him. And Vinny for Zadorov when they only have 6D and Susie's hurt, like you said.
It's kind of you taking a big chunk out of the lineup there. I agree though with what you guys are saying. Like you gotta respond. I would have liked to see a response in the moment too, even if guys didn't see it. Your captain's in the middle of the two biggest defensemen. That's not a good thing.
If you want to know what Bagmilk was laughing about, there was a deleted. Someone said Matthew Barnaby. There's a deleted tweet he had on Mother's Day. That's probably one of the most insane things ever.
He did, and he doubled down on it. He followed up with another tweet to clarify. that
Yeah.
he still likes her and he loves her.
I thought so when the group
I cannot
When the
believe
group
someone would hit
chat-
send on that.
buzzed, I thought it was Dan getting us prepped for 3v3. So I was not at all expecting what Tyler put in there.
Yeah, Matthew Barnaby, just an unhinged tweet.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and you're right, Dan. He deleted it, and then in his explanation, he was like, "No, I stand by what I said." It's like how.
So you can get the context yourself, listeners.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
funny.
still up there.
Holy cow.
He's a trip.
Speaking of Dan's 3v3. It's been 30 years since a Canadian team has won hockey's ultimate prize, and for some teams it's been a lot longer than that. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their differences and work together to end the drought? Is it their team or nothing? Or could they get behind a rival under the right circumstances? Let's get to it. Nation Dan up for 3v3. What do we got?
Well, Bag Milk, this coming together for the ultimate prize has not been going so well. Vancouver, Edmonton fans, we've been going at each other's throats. So thought with Dan's 3v3 game, we'd bring us together and have the boys go ahead and select 3 towns from around BC that they would like to have as a part of their collection, as well as selecting a bonus of your favorite referee of all time. So
I can't wait for Rick's answer.
3 towns in British Columbia and your favorite Stripes referee, starting with Bag Milk, then Tyler, myself, Liam, and Rick. That's your draft order, randomized just before we got on here. So Bag Milk, you are the first to pick one of your 3 BC towns or your favorite referee.
I'm going to take the ref. What's the guy who says the
Wes McCauley.
Yeah, Wes McCauley. I
Overrated.
just his calls are hilarious. I can't think of how he is as a ref, generally speaking, but I appreciate that he's entertaining.
So Wes McCauley off the board for Bagged Milk. That is a great pick. Tyler, you are next up, either drafting one of your 3 BC towns or a referee.
I will take a nice vacation spot in British Columbia, and I will select Kelowna.
Kelowna, BC, with its Rockets off the board for
Thanks.
Tyler. Myself following up next, I'm going to grab one of my favorite towns in a spot that my grandfather was actually born, is New Westminster, BC. Beautiful little spot in
Lovely.
BC there. So New Westminster, BC, off the board. Sorry, Liam, I know you were a big Westminster fan yourself of the original Westminster.
yeah, the
I grabbed
OG.
the new Westminster. And Liam, you get to pick next.
Kelly Sutherland,
That's the town, Kelly Sutherland.
my favorite referee ever.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
New Westminster
Canucks fans love him.
Yeah.
is Kelly Sutherland. Liam picked for his referee here as I'm scrambling to try and spell all these names. Rick, you get to pick 2 on the way back of this snake order draft.
I'd just like to specify that I'm very much against all this nice stuff right now.
Sorry, bud.
We're being positive
It's
today.
Dan's 3v3 game, not Rick's miserable rant.
He's-
Okay.
I stick with my comment. There's nothing good about that province or a referee in this league.
This is so hard for Rick.
Yeah,
He's,
you have
he's
no
on like the
idea.
4th page of Google of British Columbia towns.
Lumbee, BC. There's only 2,000 people there.
Lumbee,
Lumbee, BC. All right.
Rick.
And your other pick.
your other town.
You can
Only
another
2
town,
more,
or you
buddy.
can
You're
pick a
almost there.
referee.
We'll go with
Or-
Langley just because my younger brother lives there. My parents used to live there.
Sales guy Jared also lives in Langley.
Yep.
Oh,
shout
that's
out
true.
Langley.
Fair enough.
A Lumbee Langley pick for Rick.
I didn't
And
know
back
Rick had a
to-
brother.
Back to Liam with your pick of a BC town, because of course you drafted Kelly
Well, I
Sutherland.
think an obvious one is Penticton.
Lovely.
Go Oilers, go!
Great.
Yep.
Great
Our
Boston.
friends at Boston Pizza,
Yeah.
they know all about the Penticton franchisee.
One of our favorite franchisees of all time.
Of course.
Liam, great pick.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
handsome. Food's delicious.
You grabbed it right off the board. It was next on my list.
Well,
So
not fast
I'm
you last.
Gonna go ahead and grab the town just outside of Vancouver. It's not a town at all. It's a city, but it's Victoria, BC. I'm gonna grab
Lovely.
a little ferry ride across the ocean there.
Tyler. Who doesn't love a ferry ride?
Give me the dynamic duo to go with Kelowna. I'll go with Kamloops, even though they're like a couple hours away. Give me Kamloops.
Kamloops and Kelowna for Tyler. Bag Milk, you get 2 picks of BC towns.
I was gonna pick Kelowna because I
get it.
I really love Kelowna, but I'm gonna go back to the island. Oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna go to the mountains. I'm gonna take Whistler.
Ooh.
Do a little skiing.
Good answer, Steve.
That's a great late pick here in the second round.
Yeah.
Whistler, BC. Third round pick for you, Bag Milk.
Do I got another one?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm gonna go back to the island and I'm gonna pick Nanaimo.
Ooh.
I like ferry rides.
I don't even like their bars.
Bars.
I
Go on.
disagree with you.
I'm not a big dessert guy though, so
Yeah, neither man.
Nanaimo bar is
You
overrated.
don't like Nanaimo bars.
No.
Taking the ferry over to the island or back to the mainland, you sit up on the deck and you watch the world go by. Maybe you got an adult beverage. It's lovely.
Hopefully they just don't go off the edge next time.
Off the edge of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful there. You need a really good pilot.
Got to think about it.
Tyler, you're going to follow up your pick of Kelowna and Kamloops with
Tofino.
Oh, nice. Very
Tofino.
nice.
Doing these all off the dome, boys. Get
Tyler's
with
got a
it.
very nice list coming.
myself. I'm going to grab a classic referee, one Mick Magoo, because the name was just amazing.
He hated the Oilers.
He did, but
He hated
didn't
Craig
see
McTavish,
anything.
I think, was actually the thing.
It made for the jokes to just roll off the tongue.
Stupid
Mr.
hand,
Magoo.
hand pass.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I'll
not a
never
hand
forget.
pass. That was a clean face-off win. Sean Horkoff.
While Rick goes through some things, Liam, you're going to pick your next pick.
Fort St. John.
Fort St. John for one Liam.
Give
to
some
go
love
along.
to Northern BC.
There you go. That's nice.
It's not
That's
all
probably
about
them-
these common popular places.
Rick, to join Lumbee and Langley.
No one said Vernon, right?
No one
Nope.
has said Vernon yet
Went out there for a couple hockey tournaments. as a
until
kid.
you
Back to
said
the
it
Okanagan.
there. And now your favorite pick, Rick, you get to pick a referee.
Yeah, I can't use that. We're going to go with Kerry Fraser because that was a great call in 93. Wayne didn't hit him in the face.
He also had great hair.
One Kerry
did.
Fraser.
That-
That's the call on to Rick's team. Sorry.
That hair was bulletproof. Didn't move a lick.
That's
A lot of moose up there.
Puck proof.
I don't think it's moved in retirement still.
Mm-mm.
Liam, you get to finish off with your BC town, your final BC town.
Oh boy, oh boy! I wasn't expecting this to come back to me for some reason. Probably
That last
should have
round may not get
seen a salmon arm.
salmon arm.
It's a great name.
Let's say it again.
Salmons don't
one
have
more
arms.
time for us.
Salmon arm.
Salmon arm.
Salmon arm.
Seminar.
Salmon arm.
Seminar.
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 I say.
I say a seminar.
I'm going to grab one that I can't believe you guys didn't grab is Radium Hot Springs. Radium, the town of Radium.
Golden.
Yeah,
that's a good one,
Golden,
too.
great golf course in Golden. Most underrated course in BC.
Tyler, unfortunately, you've already grabbed 3 BC towns, so you got to go to the referees.
Invermere's getting left off the board. All my favorite golf spots. I'll go referee Surveyor Brett.
Oh, nice. That's a good pick.
Yeah,
That's a real
great
good pick.
pull.
I'm not gonna lie, boys. This one better be mine.
Surveyor Brett.
I mean, I like Tyler's lineup, if I'm,
for
not,
a
if
pick.
I'm being honest.
And BM, you get the final BC town.
Well, I spent a lot of my youth in this town, specifically living in a hotel with a water slide. It's called Esther's Inn, Liam. And that was in Prince George, Alberta.
Whoa.
It is also a little bit of love for northern BC.
Yeah.
Prince George, Alberta.
They
Great
all-
great list of towns. I don't think we missed any towns there.
BC.
At all.
Did you say that twice? Yeah.
Yeah, I
I was
did
like,
say- I
I
said
think you
Prince
said it the
George,
first
Alberta.
time. I was looking around. Nobody said anything.
I was just gonna let it go.
And then he
No.
dropped it again. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
this time
no,
I'm sure
definitely
I said
Prince
it.
George, British Columbia. We would not
I
accept
think
it
we
here in
picked
Alberta.
all the good towns.
Northern BC is basically Alberta.
It's forest and then a town and then forest and then a town.
Yeah.
I googled towns, BC towns closest to Alberta.
So there you go, Boston Pizza.
Solid.
Bringing it together
For the win.
for the win.
Nothing else.
It's been 30 years since a Canadian hockey team has won hockey's ultimate prize, and for some teams, a lot longer. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their differences and work together to end this drought? Is it their team or nothing? Or could they get behind a rival under the right circumstances? Now, if you look at the videos on our social, it's probably our team or nothing. I'm just putting that out there.
We're still trying.
Putting that out there.
We'll keep trying.
Well, happens to the best of us. I'm curious what you guys expect from from Philip Broberg tonight? First playoff game. He had a fantastic season in the AHL by all accounts. At least that's what Bruce Kurlock tells me, and I believe Bruce with my life. What are you expecting from Philip Broberg tonight?
Solid, positive game.
Confidence.
He played what? Did we say 11 games last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there
Low event
before.
hockey, just like last year.
Low event, unmemorable,
Low
Philip
event
Broberg.
hockey would be great.
There we go. Simple Daryl and a memorable Phil. Yep.
It doesn't flow quite as well as Simple Daryl, though. if I'm being
Unremarkable
honest.
Phil.
Unremarkable Phil.
Unnoticeable bro. We'll workshop it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Check in after the game.
With more than 4,400 hair salons throughout the United States and Canada, I've been to about 4,200 of them down
Ghost
there.
Broberg.
Excellent. Great Clips is the world's largest hair salon brand and the official hair salon of the NHL. Salons are locally owned and operated and open 7 days a week. Your time is valuable. Use the Great Clips check-in app. See the wait time, check in on your phone, and get your hair cut when you want. For more information, check out greatclips.com. And we're going to bring in Waz. Can you clear that up for me? We've got Waz in here for, can you clear that up for me for our friends at Great Clips? Passing over the microphone to young Waz. What do you got for us?
Oh, shit, sorry. I think I touched your face there. Nice. All right, first up here. Is this the most toxic we've seen two fan bases go at each other between the Oilers and Canucks?
It's worse than Oilers Flames because Canucks
sure.
fans are surprisingly more engaged in things than Flames fans. So I'll say yes.
And also the Flames, when we played them, we kind of rolled them.
Yeah, after game 2, it was kind of like,
I also, it's what Canucks fans are doing is interesting is that they're actively reaching out and searching for Oilers fans to start shit with.
oh yeah.
It's very interesting.
It is interesting to watch. Like my DMs after game 3 were or not my DMs, my mentions were a complete mess.
It's
Shout
a
out
show
to
of
the mute button.
It's a show of insecurity to me. Like these guys were out there before their next series was even their first series was done. They were out there slinging mud for what you will. Of course, people are gonna retort and whatnot, but to me, it's just they're only there when the team is good, and their team is decent right now, so they're gonna make some noise.
Yeah. They'll
It's
be pretty quiet tonight.
it's two Canadian franchises in a series against each other. It's just gonna happen.
See, I think they're worse.
I think they are.
They get it started off before the series started, so.
In the same breath, is this the most intense series the Oilers have had in the McDavid era?
No.
They went to game 7 against LA. That was very intense. And it was basically a 1-goal game for all the game.
We're only 3 games into the series.
Yeah, we're not done yet. So maybe ask us next week.
Yeah, by the time we get to game 7, or actually wrap Oilers in 6, by the time we get to game 6 of this one, I agree with Liam. Like game 7, being in that building was
Crazy.
it was madness in there.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to describe what it was like to be at game 7 in the playoffs.
Fair enough. I wanted to ask this question last week, but I still think it's a little relevant. This is actually about the Maple Leafs. Are Maple Leafs fans going through something a lot worse than what Oilers fans went through the decade of darkness? It feels like they're experiencing heartbreak like every season for the past 10 years.
Would you rather suck or have your heart broken in the playoffs? I'd rather have my heart broken in the playoffs.
Yeah, me too,
Yeah,
I
I'd
think.
rather win games.
I would rather, Decade of Darkness was, there was times where, Rick, we were hanging out around Halloween and the season was done.
Yeah, so I don't. That's gonna be a tough one for me. I know in hindsight, in years removed, you're gonna want those dubs, but there's a certain amount of apathy that kicks in, that takes away some of the sting. That you know what you weren't. It didn't suck so bad when you didn't win because you weren't supposed to win, but I think it hurts more when you don't win when you're supposed to win.
Interesting.
Actually, that's a decent point, because, by the time, say,
So
March, April rolled around, it's just kind of like, meh, what's the draft looking like?
Yeah, so Leaf fans, it's probably a little bit worse going through what they're going through right now than what we went through with the Decade of Darkness. When it just in terms of how you
Yeah,
feel inside.
and I think Leaf fans probably are guilty of believing the newspaper clippings about themselves too, and I can't be blamed for that because they are inundated with it each year about how they are the favorite and they are going to do it this year, and then they don't.
Interesting. Last one here is it's about the World Championships right now, and my dad always makes this point where he finds it weird when Canada kind of chokes, and makes me wonder, how much do the players care from U.S. and Canada Like, what motivates them to go to a tournament like this? Because obviously the Olympics are a little bit more important, and everyone wants to play in the best on best. So what really separates the World Championships from, let's say, a best on best Olympic tournament?
Well, I think a lot of the players who will go to the World Championships won't get the opportunity to play for Canada another time. So that would be the motivation, is to represent your country. But I think there's just more to it for the European players.
That's exactly it.
That's what I was gonna
The
say, too.
Euros, they grow up wanting to like win Olympic gold, win World, win Stanley Cup, almost in that order. Whereas the Worlds to anybody to most of the people in North America are a consolation prize. You're out of the playoffs. You got to stay sharp for a couple extra weeks. It's not even close to the same.
I think that if the Worlds happened not during the playoffs, we would probably care more.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like
you saw
Because like some of our European friends that we've worked with, like Ufe, I think of from Hockey Sverige, like they care a lot about the Worlds.
dude,
It's huge.
Washington would get knocked out, and Ovi would be wearing the jersey within 36 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
The fact that, and I give a lot of credit to him, the fact Tavares went down there, I think is awesome. Because Sid would go, but I think nowadays you see a lot less of the top end talent going, whereas before, and I mean, Decade of Darkness, that was kind of our Stanley Cup. Captain Canada, we had some of our guys got to keep playing. It was something to watch. You had a little more of the top end players going back then, whereas you don't now.
Even when our guys were getting eliminated by the Stars and the Avalanche, I remember.
Yeah, we'd
Smith
still end up over there.
championships, So
Okay.
it's just it. I think it matters less to us over time was in North America, and it's mattered more to Europeans over time.
Well, that's all I've got. Thank you for clearing that up.
For our friends at Great Clips, there's Waz. Can you clear that up for me? With more than 44 hair salons throughout the United States and Canada, Great Clips is the world's largest hair salon brand, an official hair salon of the NHL. More information, check out greatclips.com. I could use a haircut. I'm going to go to Great Clips. I might do the Todd McClellan, get it cut every intermission.
Oh, I was really hoping you meant going the flat top.
Go with the flat top? That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Or dye gray.
I mean, I'm already going there on my own. I don't need any help.
Let's see both.
You know what I mean?
Who can do that? Bring up his picture there and put the haircut on him.
How much gray you got up top?
Very little. It's all on the face.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
just
you
not-
have a decent amount on the sides or on the beard in general.
Yeah, it's the beard, and then like above the ears is very little.
Tyler has one.
I have one.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've noticed over the last 2 years I've gotten a lot more.
Amber likes to point them out. Very rude of her.
Well, wait till she starts getting them. Not quite as friendly.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got to check in. I think it was Electronic Jordan asked this while we were in Vancouver. He just wants a playoff beard update. I mentioned I shave. Dan, how you doing?
It's coming along not
Oh,
too bad.
yeah, it's actually
coming
it's
in
pretty
nice
nice.
blowing.
It's a little bristly, but
Arguably the thickest I've ever seen it.
yes, yeah, I think that this year my beard just decided to raise it a level.
It happens, man. As you get older, sometimes there's more hairs in the middle.
There's definitely a lot more gray in there than I expected there to be, but there's a ton of gray up top, so I'm
Rick, how you
going
doing?
Saravalli way.
I'm doing good. I mean, that's never been an issue for myself. So
No.
Why didn't you ask us?
Well, I mean,
Have you guys been Tyler? You've been shaving,
Yes.
but Liam,
Yeah,
you've kept the mustache
the
going.
the mustache has been going for a while now.
Yeah,
But the beard that doesn't exist is not growing. I just get a little patchy.
let her get patchy.
what?
Huh?
Let her get
Oh, I
patchy.
get patchy.
No.
Or go for the straight on the pirate look like Nooch.
I do
I-
like that.
that is a great look. Tyler, how's it coming along?
Yeah, no. It's fine. Don't
I
worry.
think it looks great.
I
That's
also have a
a-
bit of a thing where I'll cut between losses. For every loss, I'll shave.
I clean up after
Offended.
a loss. Clean
Yeah.
up the beard after a loss, but
It's fair.
Restart.
and then I will cut the hair again for every round that we win. Give the shaves aside the mullet.
Well, you got to clean up the mullet.
Got to keep it going
Got to clean up the mullet.
for
Gonna
great
wrap
clips.
up the podcast here, gentlemen. Same way we always do. Game 4 coming up tonight. We got a 4-2 win on deck for the Edmonton Oilers. Rick, what's the score prediction?
Listen, I'm with Team BM here. It's 4-2 tonight.
5-2.
Liam?
4-2.
Nation Dan?
5-4 Edmonton win in overtime.
Let's do it. Game 4 coming up. It's the swing game. Enjoy, everybody.